According to Michelle Pfeiffer, Ant-Man 3 is slightly darker than the first two movies. What's that? It was raining and it was very cloudy during the shoot. Oh, that's why it's dark. It's not tonally dark. You can breathe a sigh of relief. MCU stands. We can't have an MCU movie that's dark and compelling and that has actually a proper story. So it's okay. It will have no rewatchability and it will be the same version of the piece of shit we've been seeing for the past 20 plus movies. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. I'm the host with the most, with an overinflated opinion of myself, and I have an opinion about absolutely everything. So welcome to Saturday's show, and this is what's going on today. We focus on Blue Beetle as Susan Sarandon comes out and tells us apparently that the Blue Beetle movie will be in Spanish with English subtitles. Now, I don't understand the context of this. As I say, always, I don't proofread these articles. We will get into the article, read her quote. She also says she plays a white military industrial complex villain. Of course, she had to mention that she's playing a white character. Well, Susan, you are white. We're going to see you're white when we watch the movie. So why are you saying that? Because apparently, according to New Age extremist Hollywood, white people are bad. And this is what we're getting from this movie. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of extremism in this movie. Wouldn't surprise me if this movie is canned by Zaslav, although I doubt it. And of course, I'm joking. I want to see this Blue Beetle movie. I truly do. I love the Spanish language. I love the Spanish people. I love Spain. I can speak Spanish fluently. It isn't an issue. I mean, The Passion of the Christ was totally shot in Hebrew with subtitles. It worked. It made over 800 million at the global box office, one of the greatest movies ever made. It's not the issue. It's the virtue signaling. We will also read a couple of articles about Black Adam. We had a final trailer yesterday. I reacted to that trailer, but I feel really, really bad because I missed a really huge Man of Steel Easter egg. We will get into that at the end of today's show. So let's get on with the show. Blue Beetle DCEU movie is in Spanish, reveals Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon, who will play the central villain in the upcoming DCEU movie, Blue Beetle, confirms there will be a lot of scenes in Spanish by Andy, whose surname I can never pronounce, from Screen Rant, so we're not going to bother. Susan Sarandon, who stars as the main antagonist in Warner Brothers Pictures' upcoming DCEU film Blue Beetle, talks about how the film will have many scenes in Spanish. It has been almost 10 years since the DCEU came to life, starting with Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. While the franchise has changed significantly over the years, the DCEU is still going forward, yes, because they've made 4 movies that they have to release, and that's the only reason. So, still going forward as Warner Brothers Discovery continues to bring more heroes to life, while the studio's release plans for their DC movies changed drastically for 2022-2023, has 4 projects slated, assuming nothing else gets altered in the release schedule. Here's hoping, but I doubt it. One of the highly anticipated DCEU movies that have been in the works for a few years is Blue Beetle, starring Cobra Kai star. No, that's not how you spell his first name, Andy. No. C-O-L-O, no. It's actually X-O-L-O. Anyway, so I think it's Xolo Maridueña. Initially, the film was going to be an HBO Max original, but prior to principal photography kicking off, the studio decided to make it a theatrical release, which will come out after Ezra Miller's The Flash next summer. Blue Beetle follows Jamie Reyes, whose life is changed when he discovers a mysterious alien scarab that turns him into the titular hero. With less than a year to go before Blue Beetle comes out, one of its stars reveals some exciting aspects about the DCEU film. Sarandon recently appeared on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon and was directly asked about her Blue Beetle involvement, as she's set to play the villainous Victoria, called, by the way, that's not a comic book character. It looks like it may be replacing the original male version of Cold in the comics. So this time we've got Victoria called. and she's supposed to be the widow of the original male character. So we'll see what happens then. This is what they do now. They get upset about whitewashing, but basically, every white character who's in the original story gets kind of scrubbed out. As I say, this is modern day New Age extremist Hollywood at its worst. Without revealing any spoilers, Sarandon says that since the majority of the Blue Beetle cast consists of Latinx characters and actors, the film will be in Spanish with English subtitles, though it's unclear from her comments how much of the runtime that will be. Check out her quote below. What's fabulous about it, it's the first Latinx hero that has his own movie. Even better, all of them Mexican because his family is Mexican and all of the actors were Mexican or Mexican American, and it's in Spanish, so it's subtitled. I'm of course the bad guy. I'm the white military industrial complex character, so I had a fabulous time because there's nothing better than being bad. So she has to mention the fact that she's playing a white character, even though it's obvious she's going to be playing a white character. So reading between the lines here, the film isn't totally going to be in Spanish, but when the family is speaking, and we've seen this before with foreign language families in English speaking movies, they speak the language and we get the subtitles. It really isn't a big deal. This isn't something that's never been done before. Anyway, ever since Blue Beetle was put into development, it has been getting a lot of hype because there haven't been any superhero movies to centre on a canonical Latino character. That's not why it's getting hype. It's getting hype because Blue Beetle is an awesome, character in DC Comics in its history, and we're excited to see that translated into live action. While there have been Latinx characters in superhero media, Blue Beetle, which is helmed by Puerto Rican director Anjo Manato Soto, will get that honor of being the first comic book movie to break those grounds. It's all about breaking ground instead of making great entertainment. The film was also penned by the Mexican writer Gareth Dune Acosta, which puts Latinx talent both in front of and behind the camera. And it's really funny because it's like these studios want these minorities to thank Hollywood for doing this. It shouldn't be a thing that you should be making a big deal because the name should come up in the credits. We should see the actors, they're Mexicans, it's great, it's beautiful, but you should be telling us about the story and the character and the history of the character, not going on about this identical political bullshit every single time. While there will likely be some clarification to Sarandon's comments, if Blue Beetle is almost entirely in Spanish, which I doubt by the way, that's incredible for many reasons. Of course it is, you're an SJW. Even though there have been superhero films in which characters speak in other languages, it's rare to have an entire product, especially in this genre, not to be in English. As Hollywood still has a lot of room to improve when it comes to diversity and representation. Of course it does, yeah. They actually have a long way to go because the only diversity and representation is for Hollywood DNA. They really need a quota for true, genuine representation, which is not what we're getting today. They are liars. They are the biggest liars. Don't get me wrong. Each industry has, dominance in, certain cultural dominance in it. And I'm okay with that. The problem with Hollywood is they lie about being inclusive because the only people who really get work are their own people. It's only organic to have this movie's characters speak Spanish most of the time as the Blue Beetle enters the DCEU. Hopefully when the first Blue Beetle trailer drops, fans will get a taste of the scenes that Sarandon teases in the interview. Yeah, I can't wait for the trailer so I can see people speaking Spanish. That's why we should be excited for this movie. No, I'm excited because it's a DC movie, a DC Extended Universe movie. Blue Beetle is an awesome character. I've read a lot of him, not just with, this character, with another character as well. Look, we'll have to wait and see if this film is totally shot in Spanish. I have my doubts, but you never know. And the fact that she's saying she plays a white military industrial complex character tells you everything. Now, I don't necessarily agree with war, and I know that, global government manipulate many wars where innocent people are hurt. But these soldiers around the world are not part of those politics, and they protect us every single second and hour of the day. They do a great job. And to just represent them like this isn't a great thing, but this is where we are in Hollywood today. Of course, I'm looking forward to Blue Beetle, but we're going to have to put up with this propaganda during the marketing, and it's going to be very difficult to stomach. Black Adam's Hawkman and Dr. Fate friendship teased by Star. Exclusive. Black Adam star Aldis Hodge teases the friendship that comes to life between his character and Pierce Brosnan's Ken Nelson, Dr. Fate, again by Andy, whose surname I can never pronounce, of Screen Rant. Black Adam star Aldis Hodge, who plays Hawkman in the upcoming DCEU film, talks about how his character and Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate will have a friendship in the movie. After nearly a decade since he was cast as Black Adam, 2022 will finally see megastar Dwayne Johnson join the DCEU. Initially, the Shazam movie was going to feature Black Adam, but Johnson convinced Warner Brothers to instead let the two characters have their own respective films. While Black Adam is traditionally known as Shazam's arch nemesis, the DCEU will take a different route in his solo film for his live-action debut. Johnson's Black Adam is being reimagined as an anti-hero, whose origin story begins with him being a card-dug slave before receiving his godlike powers, with Black Adam being the morally grey hero. He will clash with some traditional heroes in the form of the Justice Society of America. For the DCEU's iteration of the Golden Age team, Black Adam's Justice Society of America consists of Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher. With Black Adam set to arrive in theatres next month, the marketing campaign has kicked into overtime. At a recent Black Adam press event, Screen Rant chatted with Hodge. With Black Adam going toe-to-toe with the JSA, Hodge teases that one of the members will act as a conscience for Hawkman throughout the story. Without giving away too many details, Hodge shares how Hawkman and Brosnan's Dr. Fate will have a bond, stating the following. The JSA, we are finding ourselves in a camaraderie and to a degree finding ourselves as a family with Dr. Fate and Hawkman. That's a long, long friendship. There's a lot of love there. There's a real brotherhood there. And they're asking what is the right thing to do about Black Adam, because Dr. Fate is sort of like a conscience for Hawkman. Honestly, don't put us up against any of the other teams that we've seen before, because this is a very much refreshing new look at what a superhero team is. As we come together into this space, you know, it's a whole new experience. So I think that's what you're going to enjoy the most about it. Yet it's pretty clear, well, I know it's pretty clear, obviously, but yeah, Pierce Brosnan, who's playing Kent Nelson, aka Dr. Fate, is kind of this mentor, even to Black Adam, even to Hawkman, who he's known obviously for generations and decades as well. And that's in the comics. And we saw this as well in the Smallville movie event, Absolute Justice, and you really saw it displayed beautifully there. The Hawkman and Dr. Fate relationship in Black Adam isn't the first to arrive in live action. In Smallville Season 9, as we've just discussed, the Superman prequel series had a big two-part event called Absolute Justice that marked the introduction of the golden age of heroes into that universe. That version of the team also featured Hawkman and Dr. Fate, played by Michael Shanks beautifully, and Brent State. Let me just tell you, Brent played a beautiful, brilliant Dr. Fate, aka Kent Nelson. So good, so good. Respectively, the Smallville iterations of the heroes also had a similar bond, where Dr. Fate was the conscience for the remaining JSA members, with Hawkman having deep affection for him. Based on Hodges' comments regarding the DCEU's Hawkman and Dr. Fate, it sounds like Black Adam is definitely going that route as well, which has even been teased in a bit in the trailers. Depending on where the JSA goes in Black Adam, the film could pave the way for the team to have a bigger role in the franchise going forward. With Black Adam's spin-off projects already being considered, as I said yesterday, they repeat themselves, these journalists, don't they? Nothing's being considered until they see the box office and what's going on with the trailers. Is there any hype for this movie? This is how you get yourself more spin-offs. A film or even an HBO Max series would be great to see for the iconic team, as they could get even deeper into the mythology and flesh out the new DCEU players. Hopefully Black Adam will be a huge success that not only gets a sequel greenlit, but also sets up the JSA's future for years to come in the DCEU. Yeah, I agree. I really hope this film's successful, because I think the JSA is such an important part of DC Comics, and I think it would be absolutely fantastic, I tell you, for this movie to be a success and to get more. Now, it looks like Zaslav's not really interested in DCEU spin-offs, even in TV form or movie form on HBO Max. Anything that happens will have to happen cinematically in the movie theatre, which I absolutely agree with. But yeah, the JSA is a very exciting part of this movie, and you're going to love them. And of course, casting Pierce Brosnan as Kent Nelson, aka Dr. Fate, was a huge casting choice, a brilliant casting decision, and you're going to love him in this movie. And we stick with Black Adam because this is an interesting one. How Black Adam touches on real-world politics as explained by Star. I think the problem is today, we had loads of social commentary in the movies I grew up with and the TV shows. The thing is, they didn't bore on about them in the marketing. They let you discover these things within the movie and make your own minds up about it. But today, in New Age extremist Hollywood, it's very different. I don't think what this actor is talking about via Black Adam is an issue. It could be very interesting. It depends on your point of view. I found it interesting. Exclusive. Black Adam star Mohammed Amar confirms the DCEU film will touch upon real-world politics, especially through the inclusion of Cod Dog by Andy, whose surname I can never pronounce, of Screen Rant. Black Adam star Mohammed Amar touches upon how the DCEU movie, which stars Dwayne Johnson as the titular character, will include real-world politics. While the DCEU has had its ups and downs in the last few years, one of the longest developed films is finally hitting theatres this year. Nearly a decade ago, Johnson was cast as Black Adam in Warner Bros.' ongoing DCEU, and he almost appeared in the Shazam movie before getting his own standalone movie. The highly anticipated DC film will explore Tef Adams' brutal origin story that takes him down the path to becoming one of the universe's most powerful players. While many know Black Adam as Shazam's greatest enemy, Johnson's iteration will be reimagined as an anti-hero, something the franchise doesn't have many of as of right now. As Black Adam goes from being a card-dug slave to becoming a mighty god, it will also see him clash with the Justice Society of America, the Golden Age team that predates the Justice League. Johnson's player will also take on the DC foe Ishmael Gregor, aka Sabat, who was just revealed in the final Black Adam trailer. As much as Black Adam is a massive comic book film, the DCEU product will also do social commentary. Screen Rant recently attended a Black Adam press event with stars from the film present to chat about the upcoming movie. One of the cast members that attended was Amar, who is playing Adriana Tomaz's Sarah Shahi brother, Karim, and he spoke about how he personally loves the story of Black Adam. During the interview, the Palestinian-American actor explained that the film does touch upon real-world politics, especially because of Kanduk, which is a fictional Middle Eastern-based country. I personally love the story. All superheroes are based off of super rationality, super prophetic understanding. There's the orphan, there's the kid that's lost and finds his way, that becomes champion. And this is similar, but yet very different. Kardug is also a country that is a fictionalized Middle East. That's something we've never seen before when you talk about global politics and what exists today. It's very fascinating to see how this film could come to light after so many years of misunderstanding and not knowing what the global landscape is, and this makes Black Adam substantially different. Yeah, look, in shows like 24, which I fucking love, a lot of the criminals were Middle Eastern terrorists. Of course, didn't go down well with, understandably, Middle Eastern people, because most of the Middle Eastern people are wonderful, law-abiding people. They have their religion, they have their views, and that's something different that they're entitled to. So it will be nice to see Middle Eastern people and actors represented in a positive light for a change. Of course it will. With Amar's comments, it makes sense for Black Adam to reflect upon real-world politics, especially in the Middle Eastern setting. Part of Black Adam's origin story is how he was a slave and the suffering he had to endure before getting his powers. The trailers have also shown glimpses of the tragedy that he has experienced during his life in Kanda, including losing his son. Given how Middle Eastern culture has been presented in various media, a lot of times through problematic perspectives, Amar's statement about how Black Adam is tackling those political aspects is valid, as there isn't a lot of Middle Eastern representation, especially in superhero media. Also, we've got to look at this as well. Even kind of Middle Eastern people who have gone into, let's say, the terrorism route, you've got to understand what's happened to those people and what they've lost. That doesn't make it understandable what they do. I'm not making excuses for them, but unfortunately, our military-industrial complex are after their countries. There's obviously civil wars in those countries, but there's also oil in those countries. And of course, English-speaking countries, you know, the elite go after those countries and cause problems and stir the narratives of these civil wars. So there's actually a really fully rounded story to tell here, instead of making it very black and white. It would almost be impossible for Black Adam not to touch upon politics in the real world related to the Middle East. Of course not. Hollywood always has to deal with politics, doesn't it? Whether Johnson's upcoming DCEU movie is doing that through allusions that are similar to ongoing issues or pulling directly from today's political climate remains to be seen. Had the film not done it at all, it would have been a massive oversight. No, Andy, again, your SJW nature betrays you. It would be quite fine for us just to have a 2-hour movie that just excites us and entertains us, but as long as the commentary is done well and it has a balance to it, I'm fine with it. Because having stories set in the Middle East, even in a fictional country like Qatar, comes with a lot of responsibilities as a storyteller. No, it doesn't. As a storyteller, you're there to tell a great story with great aspirational stories and characters and to entertain people. That's your responsibility. With Black Adam hitting theatres next month, it will be interesting to see what lengths this film will go to as it depicts Tef Adams' dark backstory. So yes, very excited for everyone to see this movie. The interviews are great. The trailers have been great. It looks great, but it's ready for the public to see it and judge it next month. What are people going to make of Black Adam? I can't wait to find out. I cannot believe I missed this Man of Steel Easter egg in the Black Adam trailer. It literally is an Easter egg, and I added The Rock on Twitter and said, thank you, Dwayne, thank you so much. And if this was an accidental Easter egg, please don't tell me, let me carry on with my delusions. Now, The Rock is clearly a big Superman fan, we know that already, and a huge Man of Steel fan as well. But what does this Easter egg mean? Is it just an Easter egg to show respect for Man of Steel and the DCEU connections, which is great? Or is this a hint we're actually going to see Cavill's Superman in this movie? This is great. This is the kind of stuff, you know, an extended connected universe needs to have. And we haven't had enough of it since Zack Snyder's left. And this is why I'm really excited for everyone to see Black Adam. So it's a great Man of Steel Easter egg. It pretty much looks exactly like the scene of Cavill's Clark Kent, Kal-El's Superman laying in the water when he goes back, when he flashes back and starts remembering his childhood. So it's great. Now, we're in a very interesting weekend in terms of Henry Cavill. Will he return as Superman? Is he going to join the MCU? Because it's D23. So I think with the time barrier here in Europe, we won't find out the Marvel, the MCU announcements until tomorrow or the next day, because obviously I'm back hours compared to America. I'll be in bed when D23 starts the MCU announcements. Lots of rumours that Kevin Feige is going to bring out Henry Cavill on the stage and announce him for the MCU. This does not mean he can't play Superman again, but Henry Cavill is a very, very busy actor. It would make things a lot more difficult. It will be a huge shot in the arm for the Marvel Cinematic Universe if Henry Cavill is announced at D23. This is simply something that will upset me. I don't want it to happen. I won't be upset at Henry. He's an actor. He wants to work, and he wants to work on the biggest blockbusters and franchises. And I totally understand this. So it's very interesting. Let's see what happens by the end of this D23 weekend. Will Henry Cavill be announced for the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Will he ever be announced to be returning as Superman, or will we have to wait and see to watch Black Adam and Shazam Fury of the Gods if he actually plays a role in those movies? I think there's a good chance, and I surely hope it happens. This has been Movies TV Man. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. See you later on. I'm going back to bed.